Well, finally and at last, I can go live again. Sorry if the light's a little bad, but I'm sitting in a car. This seems to be an effective means for a lot of people. I don't know what the problem was or what the issues I was facing earlier today, but there was, right away to remind people on my other Facebook profile. The video that I was recording in that church, McMarty Memorial Christian Church, it was reported and taken down because I was quote-unquote bullying and, demeaning people. Well, I was bullying and demeaning a bunch of these organizers who think it's okay to teach illegals how to break our laws, teaching, communistic groups how they can keep undermining the rule of law and going after us in our cities. That's very offensive to me, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I wanted to be able to get back to, commenting and connecting with everybody. A big shout out to Ben Berkwam from Fresno. He's the host for Frontline Radio, and he was willing to drive down from Fresno, 4-hour drive, and he made it. Marco's here. This is great. Yes, Tina Pickering mentions, the whole censorship problem hit me very hard today. It was just devastating. The video that I recorded, it was incredible. I was able to get police officers on record telling me that the LA City Council expressly directs them not to enforce immigration laws. I mean, it's just astounding to me. We have people in this, we have people here we are taxpayers, we are funding and providing the salaries for police officers and the pensions, etc. And what they're doing, they're not enforcing our laws. They're not protecting us. I mean, on Wednesday, that was, Wednesday, November 15th, a bunch of illegals and their enablers, they stole my signs and they ripped up one of the signs right in front of the sergeant supervising the scene. And the sergeant did nothing about it. Sergeant Keenan is his name. I think his badge number is 25975. And we're reporting him. I had to report to another sergeant and said, I don't want that guy being the supervising agent when we come to a counter protest in downtown LA again. I mean, it was just devastating. And here I am now at a church which is already on a precarious footing, having a political meeting for illegals to be able to meet there, how to break the immigration laws in our country. I'm fed up with it. So we're going to take steps to go after that pastor, Reverend Eddie, whatever his name is. This is a globalist, conspiracy at worst, and having communists there, having these subversive interests, using an American church doing what they're doing is just unbelievable. On the floors of the church, there are Nazi swastikas. There are swastikas etched into the stone. I cannot believe this. This is McMarty's Memorial Christian Church. It's at 4103 West Adams Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, 90018. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I mean, this is just, it's just untenable. It's just astounding to me that this kind of stuff is happening. I mean, it's just, and as an American citizen, me and the rest of us, I had registered for that meeting. It was on a public website, and they still said, we're not going to do this anymore. And then to have the LAPD say to us, well, they have decided to make this a private event. You have 1 minute to get out of here, or we'll force you out. We'll have you arrested for trespassing. I think it's time for American citizens to take civil disobedience to the next level. But the thing is, for this to work, more people have to start showing up. Martin Luther King Jr. and the Southern Baptist Christian League, they trained their protesters. They trained organizers to be prepared for arrest. Let's remember that they couldn't lock up every black person in the South. They couldn't lock up every black person in Birmingham, Alabama. The only way that that bus line had survived in the 1950s was that it depended on government subsidy. This has to stop. I mean, it's just beyond ridiculous what happened. We've got Gary Galino. Gary Grindel put up great videos on his channel, Grindel61. Ben allowed me to upload his videos, even though my video was taken away. Any of you, if you have ideas on what I can do to combat this Facebook censorship, I'm listening. I've wanted to write an article about this for a long time, but I'm going to make some basic comments here. There are some churches and pastors who are either very confused on this issue or they're caving on it entirely. And their argument is that it's the Christian thing to do, it's the Christ-like or the Jesus thing to do, to allow illegals to stay in the country illegally, to provide them shelter and sanctuary in the churches. That's wrong, okay? All authority comes from God, and God has ordained men, and, you know, honor the king or honor the temporal authorities. Every nation has borders. To allow people to break into a country and not respect the borders, to respect the integrity of a country, is absolutely unacceptable. Looking at the Hebrew Bible, looking at the account of Ruth in the Bible, Ruth entered into a country legally. She was sponsored by her mother-in-law, Naomi. And Ruth made it very clear, your God will be my God, your people will be my people, and where you are buried, I will be buried. There are two other ways that she fully identified with her new country. What we have is a large contingent, we have a large group of people in the country who've broken in, who are not citizens, who have had no interest in being citizens. They broke the law, and now they're demanding that the American citizens, you, me, and everybody else, must accommodate those rules being pushed aside so that they can stay here. And that's just wrong. There's a lot of things have to, this is just, it's just beyond, it's just unbelievable to see police officers, they say, we want to keep the peace for everybody. That's wrong. You know, this is about keeping the peace for American citizens and ensuring the enforcement of our laws against illegals. If you're here illegally, you need to go back to your home country. So that's what happened in the morning. I walked into that church about half an hour early, and right away, the reverend and the event organizers were trying to keep us out. They were immediately calling us disruptors. That's wrong. I went to that sanctuary city or sanctuary town hall expressly intending to listen, to speak my mind, and to challenge the myths and lies that are propagated by the illegal activists and their enablers. That's exactly what I wanted to do. That was the full-on intention of every person who had signed up for that event. And it's not going to work. I'm so well known, or other people are so well known, and therefore that somehow justifies being able to say you can't come into the meeting. Well, that's not right. You know, we had LA County for Trump, We the People Rising, men and women of many backgrounds, have been through many different challenges and have faced many different circumstances. We intended to go to this meeting to speak our minds, but more importantly, to hear where they're coming from, what their views are, why they're doing what they're doing. Agnes Gibney came. Her son was murdered by an illegal. And I find in many of these discussions about sanctuary cities, no one who is a victim of these policies ever gets to be heard. And one of my goals was that she would be able to speak. And that didn't happen. She wasn't even allowed into the meeting when it was moved downstairs. And then the reverend, caught in the middle of everything, was not willing to take charge and allow for a proper assembly for all of us. And that was wrong. We all ended up outside. 3 people had cuffs placed on them. Gregory Suska, Ben Berkwam, and John Willis. They were escorted out with cuffs on their hands, and then the cuffs were taken off. This is outrageous. There are illegals and their enablers downstairs in a basement in a church in the state of California, here in the United States, and they're allowed to get away with it, but citizens get arrested. This is outrageous. I lost my temper especially with one of the communist or, illegal alien organizers who spit on the steps of the church. Spit on the steps of the church while I confronted her with the pictures of Americans killed by illegals. And then someone says, you're playing the race card. I'm playing the American card. I'm playing the sovereignty card. I'm allowed to do that. I'm urging you, please share those videos that Gary recorded, that I recorded, or I was able to upload, that other people were able to upload. It's essential that we ensure that LAPD, that the supervising officers do not get away with discriminating against American citizens. This is a serious issue. It took me about an hour and a half to kind of collect my thoughts. For Facebook to shut down my video, oh, you're bullying them. You know what? First Amendment rights mean even if I'm quote-unquote bullying somebody, they can handle it. Speech will not kill you, and there's no such thing as hate speech. This is just ridiculous. It's got to stop. And there has to be a more direct and forceful effort to put an end to this. It's just wrong. It just can't be permitted anymore. Harim and Jesse Suave, they saw what was going on. I'm hoping that it will be an even more newsworthy event that my video was taken down. Many people saw what was going on. The outrage was palpable. We've got to stand up to this. So I'm back on my backup Facebook profile as Arthur Christopher Trump. I'm probably going to open up a third one very soon to ensure that somebody tries to do something to this account, it won't last very long. This has got to stop. We've got to put an end to this abuse that's going on with these social media programs needs to be confronted. This is outrageous. Steve Bannon has discussed rolling out regulations on Silicon Valley. Yes, whatever is the least restrictive government policy to ensure that the rights of citizens are respected, because Facebook has entered into a new stratosphere, as has Google and all of the applications that apply to it. This has got to stop. There were as many as 800 and something people watching the video that I had recorded earlier today at the same time. This was happening all over the country. Even if California is a lost cause for the short term, all the states across this country should see the devastating impact of illegal immigration. Why every American needs to take charge and work hard to ensure that the rule of law is enforced and respected in your respective states. Don't turn into California. Don't allow that to happen. There will be more to follow in that. I will be giving people more information as we decide the steps to take dealing with that corrupt church and that accommodationist pastor. So, second thing, we decided to confront the RefuseFascism, their latest little parade, their latest little temper tantrum right in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. I'm really happy to report their numbers have dwindled so much, it's laughable. They had maybe 50 people. That is a far cry from what they had at the LAX airport January the 29th. They had tens of thousands of anti-Trump protesters going after the lawfully enacted travel ban, which the president had issued. Their numbers are in complete free fall. They cannot get enough people to come out. People are demoralized. They're tired. They see this as a bunch of angry ranting. All of this talk about trying to undo the Trump-Pence regime, they have no resources to do anything about it. And in spite of the setbacks of Republicans doing their, self-inflicted folly in Congress, I think that Democrats, if they keep doing the bad things that they're doing to themselves, they might safeguard or salvage the hardships that Republicans face going into next year. They've got to pass tax reform. We need to see Obamacare dismantled in any way possible. Those are my takes on it. I'm going to interrupt briefly. I didn't get to do this earlier. I remind my audience, it's because of your donations I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing, car-wise and otherwise. I have provided my credentials for PayPal. Please donate what you can. I thank you for your support in whatever way you can. Someone made a comment about Antifa. Yes, they are dying. The FBI has gotten involved fully. The Department of Justice is stepping up their efforts, cracking down on Antifa. They have seen the devastation, the domestic terrorism that they engage in. I was a victim of it in Berkeley. What I went through, I think, was the small price to pay to ensure for the long term that Antifa would be dispersed. Did I get a car? I'm driving in a rental right now. I want to get something permanent, but I'm trying to raise $5,000. I have a GoFundMe for that. Please donate what you can. That's where I am with that right now. And to ensure that I'm able to go to events, I do rent a car, and I hope everybody understands that. I thank you for your support in that regard as well. So there I was, counter-protesting the RefuseFascism nonsense, and I thought that was funny. They have much smaller numbers. We were marching behind them throughout the downtown area, and some people who were passersby actually joined us, including a young man named Daniel and another guy named John. They actually joined with us. We ended up having 6 people when we had started initially with 2, so that was kind of interesting. It's sad to me, and they keep repeating the same tired tirades. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. It's a joke. It's hard for me to understand why they continue to engage in this crap. They rent the truck, they get people showing up with these signs and banners, and this is the best they've got. This is the best they've got. Their numbers are dwindling. We shouldn't be too... We do need to keep in mind that there may be that backlash. Remember, the party that's in power, there's a tendency for them to lose seats in the upcoming midterm election. I'd like to see us defy that trend, or at least to ensure that we have good conservatives, good pro-Trump Republicans in Congress, and especially in the United States Senate. We need to have this. We don't want to see Democrats pushing their single-payer nonsense and just thwarting the president at every turn. So, there was that. The last event, I went down to Anaheim, a group called Bible Believers. They stood outside of the Hilton where CAIR, the Council on American-Islamic Relations, was hosting a banquet or a seminar or something. And so these protesters, Bible-believing, Christ-affirming protesters were outside. I got to meet with them. I got to interview some of them. And then the counter-protesters had their own counter-protest with a group of Interfaith types. And their beliefs are just, I was trying to get some answers out of them, but they decided deliberately they would not talk to me. I just read some verses from the Quran and asked them to explain how they want to promote an interfaith dialogue, but Islam is more of a political cult which is interested in complete dominance and does not tolerate, does not permit differences of opinion and differences of faith. Yet they had no interest in discussing anything with me. But I was really glad I could be there. I was really glad that I made individual separate recordings on my camera phone. I've uploaded all of these videos to my YouTube channel, Arthur Christopher Schaper. I'm able to upload my videos. I'm able to take care of that. I have my other YouTube channel as a backup. Please feel free to follow both. Please feel free to subscribe for both. So I'm learning to have backup accounts on all these different YouTube channels. This has enabled me to ensure that I can still go public, that I can still make the case on many issues, that I can still inform you to see what I'm doing. So I wanted to be able to do this. This will be a shorter video. I wanted to make sure that all of you can see what I'm doing. We're going to keep fighting this fight. Please keep informing people about the McCarty Memorial Christian Church, the corrupt, anti-constitutional behaviors they took, what happened with the police officers preventing us from entering, forcing us to leave. Please share this video. Please share my PayPal credentials. Please donate what you can. Your support enables me to keep doing what I'm doing. And your support by sharing, by reading, by commenting ensures that me and others are able to keep fighting the fight, to keep ensuring that we put elected officials on notice, hold our police accountable, and ensure that the president and all of us are able to fight to keep making America great again. Thank you so much for following. Have a great evening.